Hello, true crimerers. This is another true crime in a short amount of time. Yeah. Don't say yeah like that again, Mike. Okay. And this is the case of Elmer DeBoer. Viewer discretion is advised. Real quick before we get started, hello, I'm Mike. If you're new here, I tell 3 true crime stories a week on YouTube, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So please subscribe. And also I tell short form true crime stories over on TikTok. The link to that and my other socials is linked in the link tree in the description of this video below, as well as the merch I sell and also my Discord server, but be over the age of 18 if you're going to join that, or else you'll be kicked out. All right, well, let's get into today's video story case thing. Elmer DeBoer was born on January 22nd, 1949. And that was in Pontiac, Michigan, and Michigan is pretty much where he spent his life. At the time of this story, Elmer is 38 years old, he is happily married, and he has 3 children. Elmer was doing work as an oil company courier, so I guess he would go around and he would pick up like the cash deposits from various, I guess, gas stations, from what I understand. You know, a job that can potentially be scary because you're dealing with a lot of cash. In 1987, at the Waterford, Michigan, I think, Shell station, he befriended the person who worked behind the counter, a new assistant manager. Her name was Missy Munday. He would just, they would interact and just have friendly conversations. And she also, I think at one point, introduced Elmer to her boyfriend, Jerry Strickland, because I guess Jerry was there. I think at one point Jerry worked at the gas station, but was fired. But something that Missy was keeping a secret, not only from Elmer, but from a lot of people in the area, was that she was technically a missing person. Missy was originally from Hancock, Michigan, and she at one point was an honor student when she was 15 in high school. She was not a child who tended to leave the house much. She would pretty much go to church functions and basketball games for the school, but other than that, she didn't really leave the house. Then in 1986, that's when Jerry Strickland moved to the Hancock area, and he was, I guess, trying to purchase homes through Missy's dad or parents, and that's how he met Missy. Apparently, Jerry Strickland, who was older than Missy, he weaseled his way into her life after he, I guess, saw her at the home. And Missy fell for whatever he was selling, and she became smitten with him, and eventually they became an item. And then on the morning of April 17th, 1986, Missy was supposed to get on a bus and go to school. She never got on the bus. She never got to school. Missy was never seen by her family, technically, again. But she wasn't technically in danger. She willingly got into a vehicle with Jerry Strickland, and they ran off together. She ran away from home. She was a runaway. They would eventually find themselves in Springfield, Michigan. Missy would call her friends from back home a couple times, basically stating she was okay, but she would never talk to her family. She would never tell the family where she was. So I don't know if she was like officially reported missing, but she was a child who was gone. But they apparently settled in enough in this area. Missy got herself a job and as an assistant manager. How she got that job, as being only like 16 years old at the time, and not, I'm not sure how background checks worked back then, given that she was technically a missing child. I don't know, but she got the job as an assistant manager. And then over a few weeks or so, she, befriended Elmer DeBoer, who came in frequently to pick up the money. And he also met Jerry, and they were friendly with one another. That is until May 11th, 1987. Elmer came into the Shell station where Missy worked. It was his normal scheduled time to come in and pick up the money. Apparently, he was the only one who had access to actually open the safe. And so it's believed at this point what happens is that when Elmer opened the safe, there was a gun put to the back of his head. And that gun was being held by Jerry Strickland. That safe had $10,000 in cash in it. And then, after that, Elmer was never seen again. And when customers started to get to the Shell station not too soon after this, and this was around 11 o'clock in the morning or so on that day, and customers, the door was locked, so they couldn't get inside, they were honking, no one was coming out. So police were called, they get to the gas station, they get access to it. They notice there's no like scene of a fight happens, there's no forced entry, there's nothing out of the ordinary that indicated that that some kind of foul play took place. But they did see the open safe, and obviously it was empty. And then they would find out that there was $10,000 in there, and that's now missing. And they can't find their assistant manager, Missy. And Elmer has not reported in, and now he's missing. By the way, the majority of the photos I'm showing in this video are actually from the original broadcast of Unsolved Mysteries, because this case aired on that show in February of 1988. 2 days after Elmer goes missing, he is found approximately 20 miles away from the gas station where he was last seen. He was next to a vehicle, but it wasn't his vehicle because his car was actually found in the parking lot of the gas station. But he had handcuffs around one of his wrists, and he had been shot twice in the back of the head. He was shot execution style. Police were made aware of Missy Munday and the fact that she was the assistant manager, and the fact that she was not found with Elmer, and the fact that he had one cuff around his wrist and the other side of those cuffs were opened, to them indicated that perhaps Missy was handcuffed to Elmer. And so maybe whoever did this kidnapped them both, and then maybe they just kept Missy for whatever nefarious reasons. But then they would get tips that Missy was actually seen just out in the open with Jerry Strickland. They were actually observed purchasing a new truck at an auto dealership. And there was a point where they were totally happy together. They were like conversating like nothing was wrong, as if Missy wasn't an actual kidnap victim. And Missy was alone with the car salesman for 2 hours. Never mentioned a thing about being kidnapped, never mentioned a thing about the murder, the robbery, nothing. She just went about her business, talked to the guy like nothing was wrong. That to them told police that she was probably in on it, that she wasn't actually a victim, she was a perpetrator in this. What the likely thing that happened is that Elmer was probably handcuffed to Missy to make Elmer think that Missy wasn't involved for whatever reason, and that's why he had a handcuff on him. So the car dealership thing was in Pontiac, Michigan. But after that, the two of them weren't really spotted again. And so at this point, they're now putting out, they have 2 people who are wanted in connection to this robbery and murder, Jerry Strickland and Missy Munday. So then that takes us to February 5th, 1988. This case is featured on Unsolved Mysteries. They present it as basically Missy is wanted for questioning and Jerry Strickland is wanted for robbery and murder, as well as other charges because he had also been involved in fraud. He was forging checks before all this happened. He had a laundry list of crimes that he committed. And literally the night of the broadcast, the Unsolved Mysteries call center, they get like 15, 20, 25 calls, all stating that they know where Missy and Jerry are. They were all the way in Moses Lake, Washington. All of these people, these friends and acquaintances, just ratted them out, told them, oh my God, that's them. And so police would go to a friend of theirs, their house, because that's reportedly where the two of them were at during this particular, I guess, evening when all these calls came in. The insane part is that when the police arrived at this house, both Jerry and Missy said, oh, we also watched it. We watched the Unsolved Mysteries episode. Yeah, we saw us on there. And so we just knew at that point you guys were coming for us. That's How awkward is that? Like if you're with a friend, all of a sudden you're watching Unsolved Mysteries and then, oh, shit. Oops, that's us. Oh boy. Uh-oh. And there's nothing they could do at that point because they caught him. So initially, Missy, who was still 16, was arrested and charged as an adult in the murder, the robbery, etc. And then Jerry Strickland was charged with the murder, robbery, kidnapping, etc. And then Missy agreed to turn state's evidence, and she was going to testify against Jerry because Jerry, for some time, was denying he had anything to do with this, that they were looking at the wrong people. There's just no way that they could prove it was him. But they had like physical evidence that they were able to then pin to him. And now they also have Missy stating, yeah, no, he did this. She said that she was not physically there when he shot and killed Elmer. However, he did come back and confess to her that he murdered him. So she agreed to take significantly lesser charges in return of testifying against Jerry Strickland. So she was convicted of armed robbery, and that was about it. And she would end up serving a small amount of time in juvenile system, and she was released when she was 19 years old. She moved back in with her family in Michigan and back into their house and has continued on living her life. She did, I believe, have a child with Jerry. And the child was with them during all of the shit, the crime. Jerry, who again swore his innocence, would go to trial, and he was convicted of murder, robbery, kidnapping, as well as other minor charges. And he was sentenced to 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Elmer DeBoer was just a friendly guy doing his job. He was so friendly that he made friends with everybody that he met at the various places he went. And one of those people would take advantage of his kindness, I guess. And he, trusted being around this young woman working as an assistant manager. Little did he know that, she was helping plot this robbery and eventually his murder. But Elmer DeBoer did end up getting the justice he so rightfully deserved. But that is it for this shorter case. I hope you found it interesting. So as usual, like I say, just subscribe here if you're into true crime and you're a bunch of weirdos like the rest of us. Follow me over on TikTok, a link in the link tree below. And that is it for this video, everybody. What am I doing? I don't know. Am I being William Shatner? No. Mike, stop. I don't know how to say goodbye. So I like to eat Fruit Loops. Only on Saturday afternoons, though. That's a very strange fact to tell you. That's also not how you say goodbye. So... What are you still doing here? Weirdo, get out of my room. This guy. Oh, that's me! It's me, it's my reflection in the camera. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. Bye!